Now what we're going to do is we're going to play a 6/8 strumming pattern with the chords C, F, and G. But we're going to play G this way, the classical style G. So let's just go over those chords real quick, just to refresh your memory and talk about some important things as we're playing those chords. With the C chord, our one finger is going to be on the second string of the first fret. Our two finger is going to be on the fourth string of the second fret, and then our three finger is going to be on the fifth string of the third fret. The important thing with the C chord is that we don't play the top E string. That would change the chord's whole identity to do that, so we have to make sure that we mute it. Some people will mute it with the three finger by just kind of putting the fat of the finger against the sixth string. Some people will roll their thumb over and just barely put their thumb on the sixth string. So we'll play from the fifth string and down. The fifth string is important because it's the root, and so it should sound like that. Nice, pretty C major chord. Okay, the next chord that we want to look at is the F chord. So what we'll do, I'm going to keep my fingers here at the C shape because I think it's the easiest way to show the connection and the transition to the F chord. So what we're going to do, we have our C shape here. Our one finger is still at the second fret, the first fret, second string. At the second fret, we still have our two finger on the fourth string, and at the third fret, we have our third finger on the fifth string. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to move fingers 2 and 3 down one string, okay? So they're going to take this and go right here, just like that. So now we have our two fingers on the third string of the second, and our three finger is now on the fourth string of the third fret. And the one finger is going to change a little bit just by barring the bottom two strings. So what you're going to do is you're going to use your one finger to cover up the two string and the one string on the first fret. So you just make a small little bar on that. Okay? So again, we're going from C and we're going down and barring. Okay? It's a little bit of a challenge, okay? Something that may help is to kind of angle your fingers a little bit so that way the bar is not as difficult. Also, don't forget the placement of your thumb. The thumb is going to give you a lot of strength. And you have to consider that the two finger and the three finger are, well, all of these fingers are pretty strong, but your one finger and your thumb finger they have a pretty strong relationship. It starts getting weaker and weaker as you start going down your fingers. So this is usually your strongest, probably your second strongest, third strongest, fourth strongest. So it's important to make sure that you kind of put your thumb in a place that's going to support these weaker fingers in comparison to naturally your one finger. So actually I kind of put my thumb more towards the back up more towards the nut of the guitar to kind of get some nice leverage for these fingers here. Okay, so here's the F chord that we're going to play. Now it's important that we not play the fifth string or the sixth string. That's going to make some noises that we don't necessarily want. So you're going to want to play from 4 and down. Okay, so you have that nice F sound. Okay, 4 and down. Our next chord, which is probably one of the most familiar chords, is the G chord. I'm going to go back to our C shape again, just so that way you can see the relationship again of G to the C chord. Alright, with this, again, we have our fingers in the same place that we had it for C. And what we're going to do this time, instead of moving down, is we're going to move our 2 and 3 finger up a string. So that's going to move our 3 finger up to the 6th string on the 3rd fret, and that's going to move our 2 finger up to the 5th string of the 2nd fret. And then we're actually going to pick up our 1 finger, because we don't want our 1 finger in on this. And then we're just going to put our pinky down here on the very bottom string, the 1 string, on the 3rd fret. Okay? And you're going to play all the strings on this one. This one's a freebie. Yeah, that's it right there. Okay? Alright, so we're going to go back to our C shape, and we're going to play a 6/8 strumming pattern. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the right hand so you can see more of the technique that's going on here. The important thing with strumming, especially in a 6/8, because it kind of has a quicker type of a strumming pattern, is we want to make sure that we use more of our wrist than we're using our whole forearm. This helps get more of a crisp and tight sound rather than a heavy hand. Another important reason why we want to use more of our wrist than using all of our forearm is because there's also more weight that's going down, and so you're going to be more likely to break strings by using all of the weight of your whole forearm as opposed to just using your wrist. So we want to really make sure we get our wrist nice and loose for this particular strumming pattern, because it's a quicker type of strumming pattern. So you're gonna need to make sure you can whip it good. Okay. All right. Another kind of rule of thumb that I like to keep in mind when I'm personally playing in any kind of strumming pattern, really, but especially with a 6/8, to get it nice and crisp and tight, is to make sure that I have a nice attack that's going down, and at least down to the bottom of the sound hole, and then all the way to the top of the sound hole. So we want to have this nice fluid swing. So you got to really kind of whip that wrist. As you can see, I'm getting my wrist above, or at least the pick is above and about even with the sound hole on both the top and the bottom. Okay. Now this is not a 6/8 rhythm, by the way. That was just a regular 4 rhythm, but I just wanted to show you that we got to get that pick about even with the top of the sound hole and even with the bottom of the sound hole. Alright, so let's get to the 6/8 side of things. Remember that it's important that we get a nice 1, 4, a nice accent, so we have almost this kind of swinging kind of feel to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you notice, the accents, they're just a little bit louder than all the rest. If I was to play without accents, it would go like this. Okay, but we want that 1, 2, 1, 2. So it's important to have some dynamics in the right hand that are communicating the pulse and the feel of the music.